Hello, everybody. Um, yeah, I'm up a little early, but I'm going to talk about Mohammed and that religion. We get a lot of radicals in there, and that's pretty much what you're seeing on the news is that Islam is all that, and I'm not buying it. The brainwashing effect, even though it's popular over in those areas, it's just not that popular over here, and they're all pretty quiet here, I think, because of freedom. I don't think that if we had a freedom issue, it wouldn't be quiet here. But I'm pretty sure it's the freedoms that we have here in America. I just have a brain block going on. Don't know if I should do this video yet. But you get all kinds, you have all these different religions and everything, but that Islamic religion is way out there in left field. And obviously, if you had gone and watched my Age of Kings video first, you would have a better view of the way it actually is in the world. You can't have a religion like that and running rampant through the world believing that they're right without somebody in the background agitating it, and it just, if you just look at it and the history of it and how long this has been going on, and people don't realize how many people have died, and I think if the actual numbers came out, people would be shocked at how many people have died over this. It's like they breed a new death squad every century, or every half a century. It could be even more than that. But I shouldn't even have to say anything, People should be just looking at it like, this is really weird, and it's really weird that they didn't put a finger on who the leader is behind it. So you have somebody that wants to have power, and it's obviously probably a family, and if it's my guess, it's probably a descendant of Muhammad. Or it's something similar. Because, if you remember Dave and his friend and the way he thought, but this being America kind of nullified his ability to rally anybody together into a team of any kind. Because here, if you're not willing to test the water to see if it's true, you're not going to know if it's true or not. Not here. So there's definitely somebody in the background agitating things and causing things. It's probably a group of people, but there's definitely, the bottom line is somebody thinks that they could rule the world, and how unfortunate. The only one I want to see rule the world is Jesus Christ, and because he's the only one that's going to be fair about it. I can hope, you know. But I'm pretty sure. And you know, if they just use their power of death to strike fear into people so that they'll become Muslim. I think that's the word I've been looking for all this time, Muslim. You know, and what good does it do? You know, it just goes to prove that nobody knows nothing, and if they got to be forced at gunpoint to change who they are, then, you know, they didn't know the truth in the first place. Because they're not going to say, you know, that they believe in Muhammad and all of his doings and the Muslim religion, and then they'd turn around and do what they were going to do in anyway. Just put on a good show, you know, you'll live. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going on over there. That's what people are resort to have to do. It's too bad. But is the religion true? And I've looked at religions, and I know Dave has looked at religions, and Joe looked at religions, and they, you know, we all have done an honest search in truth. And what we didn't think had any bearing on it, on religion, had bearing on it, had significant influences. And then there's the ones you would think that did and do not, you know. And the Muslim religion was never one that did have anything to do with anything. It's just, you know, you can't have a bunch of people doing whatever the hell they want and be a true religion. You know, it's kind of like the Jewish nation, you know. If they're up around the Temple Mount, they're all wanting to have respect for it, and you have the Muslims running around with their heads cut off in a tizzy fit, you know, and it just goes to show you that there's no truth in it. You're actually going back to the Elijah the prophet in and the people of Baal, because they were dancing all around and throwing this big fit and this, that, and the other thing, trying to make it look so important, you know. But that's what you find in this world, you know. When somebody wants to make it important, they're just going to ad-lib to what is being said so much that you're going to give up, or else they're going to hurt themselves and maybe hurt you too, trying to convince you. You know, so you kind of feel sorry for them in a way. So you let them be right. And I think that's what this whole thing is about, is that they're just throwing a fit in such a way that people aren't arguing with them. And they know it. These people know that. I mean, how can you believe in something that's not real? that you know that somebody's using you for that purpose. They have to know. It has to be a hierarchy system of some kind. So you get this takeover that they're wanting to take over everything. And when they come over to America, you know, they got to grab, they got to do the land grab like the Catholic Church. You know, that's why they seized the Temple Mount. It's because they got to do the land grab. Like it's going to prove it, you know, that this is the place, you know, where Elijah the prophet did this, or this is the place where Jesus Christ did this, or this place where Muhammad did this. Well, they'll change it more to their religion because they wouldn't want you to believe in anything else. You know, it's their mindset, where they're coming from with it. And they're absolutely incorrect. So if this ever gets, this little video in the middle of nowhere ever gets anywhere in the world, to object to the Muslim belief, then so be it, you know, but I doubt it. It's going to get beyond America. People just do not know what a prophet is. They do not know where to look for a prophet. They don't even know to look for a prophet. And in the Muslim religion, they're taught that Muhammad was the last prophet. You know, you stand out there, you know, I'm the last prophet, there's not going to be any prophet anymore. And then you go, when I was explaining to somebody this that was in the Muslim religion over here in America, they didn't know what to think, you know, about prophets or any of that. They didn't know. And so they had to go back, you know, to their mosque. They had to talk to people. They had to ho and hum over it. And the bottom line is they decided to give one of their books to me, and so that I could read it. It was one of the strong points from God that I didn't read it. Very, very, very strong. Like, I'm coming, the actual notion that Dave had was when God was coming to pay a visit to him, that it was such that he had to make ready for God, because God was not going to just take Dave's word for nothing. This was God coming, and God was going to pay Dave a visit, and it wasn't about anything Dave was doing. It was about what God was doing. So when God shows up, it wasn't and didn't have anything to do with the book on the Muslim religion. It was about what God wanted to do. So then you get into this thing about there's different sayings that are out there that try to convince you, like, God is going to do this for you and God is going to do this for me, which is two different things. But the examples in the Bible are never that way. It's about what's the same in the Bible, not about what's different in the Bible. And you got all these people running around trying to tell you this stuff because they're trying to separate themselves from everybody else so that they can be credible to you. It's never the way God has ever been. God has always been the same throughout all these centuries. and doesn't divide his kingdom up into all these little powers, because then you have people that disagree. And when you have people that disagree, you have war. You have death, you have famine, you have all those things, and the people are not blessed. I explained this in a few of my videos. So if you're actually listening to the videos, you're getting somewhere. So, I come off, when I'm talking, I'm not talking to you in fabulous words. I'm not complimenting you up a storm. I'm not talking like I've been so educated that I'm above you. Okay? Because all that is foolishness. Simple words, simple ideas come across the best. And if I wanted to impress kings and presidents and all that, I'm sure that I could have quite a list of books and things that I could read and all that. And people just put too much emphasis in it, in simplicity. People that care about that stuff are actually the dumbest people in the world. Even no matter who supports them, no matter who holds their name up, no matter what, it's all for a system to back something about them. It's all political, and you can get quite a number of people to stand up against you, but believe me, in the background, they're all contemplating what they can gain from each other by supporting each other. It didn't have anything to do with being right or wrong anymore. See, and that's where the heart needs to go, is the heart needs to follow what it needs to follow in order to get where it needs to go and be saved. And you can't follow those kinds of examples. So to put a rest to everything, the Muslim religion is not right. It's too bloody. Anything that's that bloody is not correct in any way, shape, or form. You can't go out and murder 10,000 people and then stand there and say that you're right. Well, might does not make right. That era died, where chivalry and all that, stood above everything else. And, instead of going into court, you could do a duel, and, and if you weren't alive, you couldn't dispute it. And that's the way the Muslims have been handling everything. And then they want to come out and say, well, there's good Muslims and there's bad Muslims. And you can't be divided against yourself. I mean, when you're reading the Bible and you're going, okay, how do these truths that I'm reading apply? And Christ said it himself. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And so you have a house that's divided against itself. You can't have a good side and a bad side. One of the sides has to prevail, and it's going to be the side that is causing death and murder and mayhem and wanting to cause all these problems for whatever reason it's doing it for. And I'm guessing total domination of the world. Because it's the mindset. You get so many virgins and whatever else you get for throwing yourself onto somebody else's gun. It's not a very good thing for anybody. Because you get crazy people out there that might believe it, and then you get people that go, well, if If it doesn't happen, it's great, but if it does, I'm not out anything. I get more than what I had. And you can't get something for being evil. Being evil, being good, it's not supposed to have any difference in this world. What kind of people are people? Because we're only born to get a body, and then we're on to the resurrection if we look for the right salvation tools. And we're actually supposed to believe enough growing up and to get an answer. And usually you do get an answer if you're growing up into it. Those that don't grow up into it are really going to have a hard time. I mean, seriously going to have a hard time. You're just not going to get an answer right away. You better be like a child asking, because you're not going to get nothing. You're not going to see nothing. You're not going to know. I'm sorry to say, but everybody walks around out there thinking that they're saved, and God didn't tell them anything. They don't know that they're saved. I mean, they're just going by some words that somebody manipulated in a Bible. So they just aren't going to be saved. Maybe later somebody will represent them, but I don't know. The odds are against them. There's just too many people in the world, too few saints to cover the world. If you ever wonder what a saint is, it's not the saintly figures that you see in the Catholic religion. Because I'm equal opportunities. All religions have the same outcome, and they're all not true. And even the one that is true really isn't a religion. It's a way of life. It's not a religion. And the God that walks around is really fake. It's not your imaginary friend. It's not like that. There's actually a being that walks around, and you can talk to him if you can find him. So that's that. That's what everybody else in the Bible did. They found him. And he's not always an easy one to convince that you want to be saved. So, is the Muslim religion true? No. Just because people believe in something doesn't make it true. People make things up all the time, and that's what Muhammad did. Muhammad was nothing better than your average tyrant. He didn't pull everybody together in his little group, nicey. It was blood, massacre, and any other atrocity of evil. And if you compare, that their argument might come up, well, Moses was the same way, or any of the other ones would have been the same way. God is an evil being, and why would you want anything to do with him? And those things come up, and that's not actually the way God is. Somebody had to park in front of me, so I might have to move the camera. It's just that nobody out there really knows God. And if any, and there's a few people that do, but you have to know who they are and to kind of get who God is, what God is all about, right? So, or else you're just not going to be lined up with it. It's just everything is going to be confusing, and you're not going to know what to believe unless you have years of experience looking for truth. And I'm here to tell you, you probably don't. If you're a reader of the Bible and you're not so much into believing what everybody tells you, you're more into the reading part. You're more apt to see truth in it, because all anybody wants to do is lie, and I won't say lie. I'll say they don't know what they're talking about. They get this people get this imaginary idea in their head about what religion is, about who God is, about who the angels are, and this and that and the other thing. And then they're walking around, they're believing whatever it is they put in their head, and it becomes real to them. But it's not until people are confronted, did God actually tell you that? Well, no. Did God actually show you anything like that? And they're like, well, no. Did you get an answer that you were going to be saved? And you get the no, and so you get no, and nothing happened. So they don't know. They'll sit there and they'll act like they know to you. They'll act it, but they don't know. And so you have to fall back onto the actual experience. Who's got experience? The only ones you're going to come across that have experience are prophets. So you have to go by what they say, because they'll tell you certain things in certain ways, that God said this or God said that, and God did this and God did that, and this is how they know, because they lived their life doing it. So I'm not against religion to the point where you don't believe in God anymore, because there's a fine line there. You have to believe in God, but you can't believe everybody that talks about God. There's a way to believe, and it's life experience. And if they're not talking life experience, then they don't know what they're talking about. And you get some of them, like the TV evangelists, who are absolutely wrong too. And they'll sit there and talk about what this happened, that happened, and what the scriptures all mean, and like Dave, he knows that's a bunch of chatter. They don't know anything. It's mostly fake. Anything that's on TV is fake. Everything on TV is fake. It's just a source of entertainment, no matter if you're watching a commercial about a bank, or you're watching a TV evangelist show, or anything. There's nothing that is real on there. It's all somebody else's idea they're trying to sell you. and that's how the money goes around, and it's not true to real life. And it's too bad, because the real stuff is much better. So